Hey, and welcome back to the next episode of the Right Hand Drive Guys podcast, the podcast for guys who like right hand drives. I'm Bobby. This is Aaron.
Yo, yo.
And here we are. We're back again. Episode 105. Cool. So, I don't know, man. We were like, what the hell is wrong with Nissan? That's pretty, to put it as,
Yeah, they've been in the headlines this past week.
Yeah, they really have. And so Nissan's struggling. Like your buddy that could never keep. He's living paycheck to paycheck. You know what I'm saying? Like Nissan
Right.
is like
Bumming
down and
six
out.
from you.
Right, exactly.
Living on your
smoke.
couch. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. We're like, Nissan, don't fail us now. Like after all these years.
Yeah.
After everything, after all the ups and downs, after all the championships and the losses, everything. Yeah. Like, don't let us down in 2024, dude.
Right.
Like,
you've been here too long.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
You've earned your place. And so, yeah, I mean, how does this happen? You know, so Nissan is cutting 9,000 jobs.
Yeah.
They're reducing their production capacity by 20%.
That's quite a lot, especially when you're talking, millions of dollars worth of cars.
Yeah, 20%. Yeah. And so even the Nissan CEO, Uchida, is taking a pay cut by 50%. Yeah, he must be going down to
Holy
only
shit. That dude's gonna be bumming six from you.
Yeah. 50%
sure.
still probably more than we could imagine.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Man.
But apparently they're calling it a severe situation. And you were saying how much are there? Was it down 70%?
Yes.
So 70% is what they're expecting their sales to be down.
Yeah.
From, was it 3 billion?
Yeah, it was in the billions for sure.
Yeah. So down to hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
So just think about that. Think about their global workforce. Think about just everything that they're spending money on that they're going to have to reduce.
Yeah.
They're in trouble, dude. Owning and running a business and thinking about losing 70% of my income, dude, that would be crippling.
Yeah. I mean, to most people, it would be.
Yeah, and so it's kind of tough because they're like a legacy car maker, right?
Right.
So they really it's kind of almost similar to the GM thing.
Right. Like when they shut down Pontiac, Oldsmobile.
Think they had to do restructuring and they had to refigure out their brand and re-meet their customer. Yeah, right. I mean, think about it. We lost at least 3 car brands, car makes when GM shit the bed. So what are we going to lose? How does Nissan make it out of making 70% less, but still give us a small ratio of their overall income and customer base? We're the smallest. We're a bleep on the map.
Yeah, as far as
global customers and revenue.
Right.
So Nismo and these programs, the Heritage Collection, these different things, the Global HQ, all of these kind of touristy things, and these Skyline people things.
Right.
How could those not, some of it be on the chopping block?
Right. Is that why you can't get Z-Tune stuff anymore?
Is it?
Is that why you can't buy the display at the Mari factory?
Yeah, because that's literally the last one. Yeah, I mean, I heard that it was a supplier issue, but who knows, right? I mean, you would think they'd be able to sell that stuff. You'd think they'd still be able to do the stuff that's making money.
Right.
But I guess I don't know how their funding works internally. How does Nissan or Nismo get its money,
right,
so to speak?
Because sure, it's easy to say why aren't you guys producing the RB26 blocks? Why aren't you guys producing this or that? But Dude, yeah, the enthusiast, the Skyline enthusiast, I feel like is a very, like we were talking about, very small piece of this global company. So it's hard to give that attention when it's, making you a few million, where this other thing is making you closer to $1 billion.
Right. Or more, yeah, more than that, right? Like even if, yeah, I mean, so there's got to be cuts somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do with it. And then now enter Chinese automakers who are becoming more and more respected.
Yeah.
And so their Nissan's market share is going to shrink with that because they're going to take some of it.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of, I don't know. That's a tough business to be in.
Right.
And I don't know how they didn't see this coming.
Yeah, and nowadays I can't think of a single Nissan other than obviously the Z and the GTR that's also on its way out.
Yeah.
Other than those
Rest in
two, I
peace.
can't even honestly tell you a Nissan car that I would go to the lot and buy brand new.
Yeah, I mean,
Is that part of the problem? That their cars are just like, I don't know. I mean, just not exciting enough?
yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of brands' issues, period, right now. Like back in the day, right? Like it wasn't all about, and this has gotten worse since Tesla and EVs have come out with their screens and it's all electronics, right? But back in the day, 90s, like even early 2000s, sure, you maybe had your radio on, but that was your only sensory input that wasn't the car itself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like whether it was shifting the gears, the clutch, the gas, everything.
Rolling up the windows.
Right. It just all of that, there was just more feedback to the soul, so to speak.
Right.
Now, like, they make cars so simple it takes away the excitement. They don't even want you parking it yourself and fucking it up. Like it's like crazy, dude. The new cars are just so and it's sensory overload in there.
Yeah.
There's LEDs here. There's a 27-inch screen here. There's a screen in your rear view. There's a screen for your odometer. There's a screen. Like it's just like, damn, dude. Like it's just put you into this box.
Yeah.
So do I think just them not having, the sports versions and now they'll have one single sports car?
Yeah.
Really, now that they've eliminated the GTR, which mixed feelings. Like, yeah, we needed to get rid of the R35, but not until we had an R36, which we had insane amount of time to do. Like insane amount of time.
Dude, I've seen so many fake renderings for R36 concept cars. Like so many fake renderings.
And I'm like, dude, just give us
they
almost
have their
any
pick.
of those.
Yeah, right. They have their pick. Dude, they've already designed it for them. Like
just look at the analytics. Who got the most? Okay, there's your car, right? Like that's what you would think, but they just dude, for 10 plus years, 15 years, whatever, they literally just rode that horse. Frontwards, backwards, all around, dude. They just fucking
Inside
rode it.
out,
Yes. And so yeah, I'm a proponent for like an S16 Sylvia.
Right. Which they've had concept cars for that too.
Yeah, I know. And so I know the S16 Sylvia rendering I saw recently was like sick, dude. I was like, dude, I would take that.
Yeah.
Like, but that's the thing. And, we were having that sidebar conversation about pretty much, the GR86 is in this price range.
Right.
And if you go around drift days, circuit days, whatever, you'll see those at the track because they're,
They're entry level, right?
Yeah.
They're
and
affordable.
They're anywhere from like brand new, we're talking.
Right.
30 to 40 grand.
Right.
30 to 40 grand, that's not cheap, but 30 to 40 grand is more affordable, so to speak, than 25 to 30 grand was in the 90s.
Right.
To get 25 and 30 grand in the 90s felt like hard as hell. Like it was much harder to come by, where I feel like, you can get approved for loans,
Right.
The inflation rate that includes, so it's kind of one of those things. But when you go over to Nissan, the only sports car is the Z.
Right. And it's
What motor's in that?
it's a twin turbo V6.
Twin turbo. So
I forget
that's
the code. but
45 to 60K,
Right.
and 65 if you want Nismo.
Right. So that's a little.
That's like out of that. That's not like quote unquote easy to come by, so to speak.
Right. Right. I don't think it's in the same class as like a GR86.
Right. No, it's more middle.
Right.
Middle of the.
And I think, that's like a market that people are missing, I feel. Like, is that entry level, rear wheel drive in a 4-cylinder?
Yep.
Like,
yeah, I definitely agree. And production costs aren't like insane on this low tier car.
right.
You just got to put the right motor in it, make it rear wheel drive. Like, don't make it super ugly.
Right.
And the enthusiasts will buy it. Is it going to bail your company out of a 70% loss? Hell no. They're screwed.
Right.
Like, dude.
Right.
They're
But
screwed.
it'll make it hurt a little bit less, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
That's something that obviously people have been asking for years. And, like, it's a part of the market that's being fulfilled by Toyota. And I feel like Mazda maybe with the Miata.
Yeah.
Like,
Which they're still sitting on. Like, they're a whole different mess, like, obviously they're doing their book work and they're not the ones saying that they're losing 70%.
Right.
But still, they got to do something too, know. But yeah, I mean, they're trying to get out of it, an activist investor came along, pretty much bought 2.5%. And, nobody, any of us has ever heard of, some capital fund.
Right.
And the Nissan shares on the stock market jumped more than they had in the past 15 years.
That's decent then.
When this investor bought 2.5%.
Yeah. So that's some good news.
Yeah. And so I guess it's like Effissimo Capital. So they're from Singapore. I guess they buy distressed companies. I'm like, dude, wow, okay. They go around, buy people that are on their last leg. Yeah,
Yeah.
Got it. But whatever. I guess it works for Nissan, and it's like what you were saying. All these new cars are boring. What's the difference between a Nissan and a Kia and a whatever, and this Chinese? What's the difference besides price, right? Like we said, there's no input anymore. The driving excitement is gone. Like, you go out to your car just to go somewhere now.
Right.
It's not to drive it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just nothing special, I guess you could say. Like, I mean, even as a commuter car, as a daily driver, I couldn't think of a Nissan that I would really want, but I could think of a couple Hondas, because
sure.
Whatever cool little unique things they got that's cool.
Right, yeah, to stand out.
Right,
yeah.
right. Like a cup holder on the left, dude, and the Honda Fits. Like,
yeah,
that's sick.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, for sure, I get what you're saying. They do need to be unique. They need to find out. It's almost like they've lost their identity.
Yeah.
Like, that's almost how it feels, is they've like lost their identity, and they need to get creative to regain that identity, that brand identity, so to speak. And especially shedding the R35, now their identity can't include motorsports, really.
Yeah, other than the 400.
Right.
I mean.
Yeah, I mean.
But that's right. It's not the.
I mean,
it doesn't have the prestige. Or,
there's no flagship
like
sports car,
right?
Besides the Z. I mean.
No, yeah, they got to come out with something then.
I mean, you would think, but not when you're losing 70%.
I know.
Yeah, so I mean, that's what's tough. They're in a pickle. They thought they were going to have more than what they did. They're not going to. So we were reading that Mitsubishi and I think we're understanding this right, purchased back because Nissan had invested in Mitsubishi.
Yeah.
Mitsubishi purchased back 10% of that.
Right.
And so that's capital to go in the bank, but then they now own only 24% of Mitsubishi.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they're also in an alliance with Renault, I guess, as well.
Oh, yeah,
with
that's
that.
weird. That is such
Yeah.
a weird thing. That's where they went wrong.
I feel like.
Yeah. They should have found some other automakers that were like,
I mean, everything that they were kind of doing in the 2010s, I feel like, was all the wrong move.
yeah,
You know, there was no, I don't know. I think that's where it all started to go wrong. Is in 2010.
probably. Yeah.
And that crazy CEO they had that ended up, you know, being wanted and fleeing the country, and that's a whole other story of the Carlos Ghosn, or yeah, that's who it is.
Yeah, I mean, and so Uchida comes in and is trying to pick up the pieces, but I mean, sometimes that's not as easy as
shit might have already been sinking.
Right, and all you're trying to do is just plug the hole, but eventually the hole, breaks through, and now it's the ugly truth. Your company is struggling.
Yeah.
So if you're Uchida, what is your plan? Like, in the basic sense, what are you doing to turn this shit show around?
I mean, I would look at what the people want and what can be sold, and I don't know, what can bring people back to the brand that have maybe left, and they're buying something else now because Nissan just makes boring cars. So yeah, I would just look at what people want, which I feel like is affordable sports cars, or just not the same boring cars they have now. Pretty much. And trying to capitalize on that and seeing where that goes. I mean, it's hard saying, because that's obviously, I mean, you got to think about, globally, I guess, but I don't know. I feel like that's an obvious one, though. It's just making a car that people actually want to buy, that's affordable, that they can move units of. Yeah,
I mean, that does make sense. I mean, you need to move units. And so if it was me in Uchida shoes,
what would you do?
I would simplify on all sides of the company. I would lean out, and I would figure out exactly where we're not making money, like what is not making us money, and I cut it out. It would hurt. It's going to hurt some people. It's going to hurt Japan. It's going to hurt, but I would lean right out. I would simplify my offering. I would reel back in all these things that I have going, and I would simplify that into I would almost restart with my model lineup and everything to simplify.
Yeah.
That's probably where I would start, is simplifying all of that and leaning out heavily and then figuring out how to grow back into your shoes.
Right.
Instead of trying to fill these shoes when your feet are killing you, whatever the case may be, right? So,
and that's not that crazy. I mean, if you think back a few years ago, Ford cut all of their cars out of their product lineup except for the Mustang. Mm-hmm. Pretty wild.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, to say that you're a car company that's not going to make any cars anymore except for your flagship sports car.
Yeah.
Kind of a big move.
A reason.
Right, but Ford's been one of those companies that have kind of been able to sustain themselves and get through the hardship, per se.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So they might have did just that, They saw what people wanted and leaned out operations and their lineup to focus on what actually the people want and what they'll sell, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I mean,
hate to use Ford as an example.
Yeah, that's tough, but it does. I mean, it's hard producing so many models, right? Like, because of just all of the different resources it takes to produce the models, and
a lot of R&D and just all that. I mean, a lot goes into behind replacing just one car or
manufacturing. Yeah. I mean, so I don't know. That's what I would do. I would just simplify it. I guess if I had to simplify it, I mean, I don't know. The EVs are like cool, but it's just becoming too much. You're spreading yourself out too much.
Right.
But however, Nissan, sure, they do have some trucks, but they're not like this crazy truck company, right? They're not selling truck units like Ford and GM.
Right.
So you can't just say cut out all the cars, but you have to figure something out. And of course, yes, I would say you need an R36, even if it's, dude, make it super limited.
Yeah.
If you need to, make it like 500 a year, whatever it is, right? Something to keep that about your identity. And then, of course, the entry-level sports car,
Right.
the 4-cylinder rear-wheel drive, like the S16, right? You need
Yeah.
an S16 and you need an R36
100%.
to keep us interested, like our type of people, right? Like, we're going to fall off from you as a brand in 2025, let's say, and we're only going to be cool with you as a brand in 1999 or 95, right? Yeah, no, I love Nissan. No, like the old Nissans.
Right.
No, that new shit sucks. I like that, and I don't want to be saying that.
Right.
But besides the GTR, there was nothing worth buying over the past 10 years.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not driving a Nissan truck. Although, like, I don't mind their diesel ones. I mean, but it's not even their own motor.
Right.
They're like mix and match on some things. But
globally, though, they do have their own diesel brand.
yeah, I mean,
Like
they
the
should.
Nissan diesel, like, is pretty big. Like in Japan, you see them.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Like
For
the
sure.
little cab over trucks or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Even pretty big ones.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and maybe that's what they should focus a little more on instead of like all these SUVs and EVs and like,
Right.
I don't know. But we're not running it.
No.
So it doesn't really matter what we think. But I mean, I hope they figure it out.
Yeah. So, worst case, right? Worst case scenario here. Nissan goes belly up. What happens to the heritage program, the parts program, and the Nismo line of things? What happens to all that, do you think?
I don't even know if it takes that long until they go belly up, so to speak.
Right.
Like, I think that stuff's on the chopping block. Maybe not today, but I mean, if things don't turn around, that's on the chopping block. That's no matter what, it's a whole thing, right? And it's something they have to manage. They have to staff. They need accounting, all of that stuff for it. If you can cut those things out,
Yeah.
reduce all of that, maybe that's part of your leaning out. I don't know. But we are a we are a speck of dirt on their playing field, dude.
Right. Do you think someone would step up to start producing things for these cars, given that the OEM manufacturer is gone?
Maybe,
or if that
but
happened?
I feel like they have a challenge ahead. That'd be a lot.
Right.
You
I mean,
know.
because, like, for instance, Garage Yoshida, right? They have the ability to press out these panels and things.
Yeah.
Like, things along those lines. Like, what happens? Like, does
It
someone
could
end up buying all
disappear.
that machinery, or does it disappear and these cars become irreplaceable? Like,
And the value
more than
goes
they already
up.
are?
The value would
Right.
go up for sure.
wild.
Especially, yeah. I mean, that would be wild. And
I would hate for that to happen.
me
Do
too.
not want that to happen.
I don't need any more value on a car. I want like my OE people still involved. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah, I mean, I hope that doesn't happen either, but they got to get creative. They got to put the heart and the soul back into it. They need to do it for the driver. Like,
Yeah.
sure, I guess have your one vehicle that's for the rider,
Yeah.
but make some stuff for the driver.
Right.
Because that's what everyone's losing. And the first company that really comes back on that, I mean, and some are trying, but the first company that really puts the driver first, I feel like is going to win,
Yeah.
in whether people like it or know it, not like it, whether they know it or not, they do enjoy driving it.
Yeah.
It's just maybe that's not the first thing on their mind. But as everything has faded off, they've just gotten complacent in this tech bubble thing.
Right.
Like that will drive for you pretty much.
Yeah.
You don't need, so yeah, they've lost the love of driving because they don't drive anymore.
Right.
They ride, for the most part. So we got to get the love back, the love of driving. When we get in these, it's because we love driving them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. My heat hasn't been working, but like that doesn't stop me from driving it on a freezing day. You know what I'm saying?
Damn right, dude. Until
Like,
that first snowflake and first salt truck goes by, dude,
Yeah.
it's all game.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Because I love driving it, and they need to produce cars that, give people that feeling.
Yeah.
Like 100%. That's what it's missing from them.
Yeah, that's the basis of it. Give people that good feeling, make them enjoy driving your cars, and they will buy your cars. Nissan, dude, if you're listening to this, make something I want to drive. I'll buy it. I'll trade in my GMC. I'll do it. Like, let's get something going for the people that want to support you.
Make some 6-speed cars. Do not put the CVT in everything.
Right. That's true. The
the
CVT's
is
trash. I thought we learned this like a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop doing that. Throw the CVT away.
Right. Get that clutch pedal back in there.
Yeah.
Dig them out of the archives, dude. Put the clutch
Seriously.
pedal back in there and see yourself sell some cars.
Dude, would be really cool if Nissan had the foresight to, like, on some of these new cars, like, for instance, like some of these cars they produce new, they could use parts that you could also use on your Skyline. Like,
Oh, wow.
so like they're using old
2 for
parts.
1.
Right. You
Yeah.
get like a 2-for-1, right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That'd be pretty cool. Nissan.
Nissan, what's up? Hey,
Yeah.
pay out when the time comes, all right?
They already got the design for it, right? Why
Yeah.
couldn't they just like
Make
retrofit it into a new car, and then they can have the new stock to replace and
Yeah,
maintenance
that
these
would
old
be
cars?
insane. You're right, because a lot of the parts have changed and gotten cheaper.
Right.
It's a whole thing when you're talking 25-year span.
Right.
But
That'd be crazy.
we got nothing but love and respect for Nissan, and we're over here crossing our fingers that you guys are in some boardroom right now just ripping each other new assholes, just pissed off because
Yeah.
your I don't know, performance is super subpar,
Yeah.
and you guys should be embarrassed.
Yeah.
But with every low, it can come a high
Right.
if they just actually do rip each other new assholes in that boardroom and figure it out. Then come back to us as a consumer base and give us what we need.
Yeah.
If you keep feeding us the junk, we're going to keep not supporting you.
Right.
And this is where you end up.
100%.
And I'm still trying to go to a Mori factory and all that shit, so don't be closing that down. Don't be doing it. That bathroom's way too dope. Hey, maybe you should have used 1 or 2 less camshafts on the wall and maybe paid your bills, Nissan.
Chill.
Sorry.
Bro.
My
Come on.
frustration that they let themselves get to this point is coming out. Like you guys let yourselves do this.
Dude, right?
Oh, well. So positive vibes to Nissan. We love you.
We do. Might talk a little shit on you right now.
Yeah, but
it's
hey,
all
you
out of
need it
love,
for
right?
motivation. Yeah, you need it. It's like that dad that would talk shit to you but really loved you,
Yeah.
All right, guys, we appreciate you listening. As always, this was episode 105. You can find us on the internet at RHDGUIS. And for episode 105, Nissan, don't fail us now.
Please don't.
I'm Bobby. This is Aaron.
See ya.
Peace.